Let me start by telling you something most women will never admit out loud. Attraction isn't just about what you do, it's about what you say. And no, I'm not talking about sweet lines or compliments. I'm talking about the things a man says that make a woman pause, lean in, and suddenly see him differently. Because here's the truth. Women don't fall for men the way men think we do. We don't respond to effort the way you expect. We don't melt because you're nice. And we don't get attracted just because you show interest. A woman becomes attracted when your words trigger something in her mind. Curiosity, respect, desire, or the feeling that you see her in a way other men don't. Most guys never learn this. They keep saying things that make them seem weak, needy, unsure, or replaceable. And the worst part? They don't even realize they're doing it. So today, I'm going to give you something women rarely give men, the truth. Straight, feminine, a little provocative, but honest. If you want to attract a woman deeper, faster, and more naturally, there are specific things you can say that flip a switch in her. Words that make her see you as the man in the room who stands out without trying too hard. Think of this, like I'm sitting across from you, telling you how we actually respond. Not the romanticized version, not the movie version, but the real version. The version that women talk about with each other, but never say directly to men because they don't want to expose how attraction really works. And here's the part most men don't realize. When you use the right words, you're not manipulating her. You're revealing your masculine energy in a way women naturally respond to. A woman wants to feel something around you. She wants to feel pulled in, not because you're chasing her, but because your presence and your words make her feel safe, seen, and slightly challenged. So let's break down the 7 things you can say that immediately raise a woman's attraction. The real way. When you understand these, you'll never look at talking to women the same again. If you're ready, let's get into it. 1. Say this and watch her entire energy shift toward you. If there's one thing men underestimate, it's how sensitive women are to a man's tone, his calmness, and the way he frames his intentions. Most guys think attraction comes from charm or effort, but it often comes from something much simpler. The way you make a woman feel when you talk to her. And one of the most powerful things you can say, something that instantly shifts her energy, is this: I like your vibe. It sounds small, but the effect is big, because here's what women are used to hearing. I like you. You're beautiful. You're really pretty. Or worse, endless compliments that feel generic, predictable, and empty. Women hear those things all the time, especially if she's attractive. But when a man says, I like your vibe, he's doing something different. You're telling her you're paying attention to something deeper than her looks. You're showing that you see her energy, not just her appearance, and that makes her feel noticed in a way most men never manage. There was this moment once where a guy looked at me after a short conversation, calm, not trying, not doing the usual performance men do, and he said, You have this calm but confident vibe. I like it. And let me tell you, my whole energy shifted instantly, not because of the compliment itself, but because of the subtext. It implied he wasn't impressed by my looks alone. He was evaluating me. It wasn't desperation, it wasn't neediness, it wasn't, please like me back. It was a man noticing something real about me and saying it with confidence and ease. And the moment a woman feels that, her guard drops. Her femininity softens. She becomes more open, more curious, more engaged with you. The reason this works so well is because women want to feel seen beyond the surface. Men often think women want attention. And yes, we do. But what we really want is meaningful attention. The kind that feels specific, intentional, and natural. I like your vibe is powerful because it isn't about her beauty. It's about the way she carries herself, the way she presents herself, the energy she gives off. And when you point that out, you separate yourself from every man who leads with physical compliments. Say it calmly. No excitement, no nervousness, no fast delivery, just a smooth, grounded tone like you're simply stating a fact. 2. The line that makes a woman respect you instantly. If there's one thing women don't get enough of from men, it's clarity. Most guys dance around their intentions. They flirt, but won't say what they want. They hesitate, overthink, or try so hard to be nice that they lose all masculine presence in the process. But here's the truth. Women respect men who speak with certainty, not arrogance, not aggression, certainty. And the line that instantly triggers respect in a woman is this. This is what I want. It could be small, it could be simple. It doesn't have to be about the relationship. What matters is that you communicate desire or direction without flinching. When a man can say, "This is what I want," it tells a woman he knows himself. He's not letting the world push him around. He's not hiding behind passive behavior or trying to mold himself into whatever he thinks she wants him to be. Women automatically respect a man who operates from a place of self-truth rather than approval-seeking. Let me explain why this hits so deeply. Most women deal with men who are scared to be direct. They fear rejection. They fear judgment. They fear coming on too strong. But here's the funny part, that fear is what turns women off. Indecisiveness kills attraction faster than anything else, because a woman wants to feel like the man she's with has a spine, not in a controlling way, not in an egotistical way, but in a grounded, masculine, I know who I am way. When you say, "This is what I want," you're not forcing her to agree. You're simply owning your truth. And that confidence is magnetic. It could sound like, "This is what I want," a real connection. "This is what I want," something slow and intentional. "This is what I want," a woman who values her time like I value mine. "This is what I want," good energy, good conversation, nothing forced. See how calm that sounds? No pressure, no chasing, no pleading, just honesty. Women respect that because it draws a boundary. It shows maturity. And most importantly, it signals that you're not operating from a place of need. Men who lack clarity often fall into behavior that feels soft to women, apologizing too much, hesitating, waiting for permission, or hiding their interest until she loses attraction. But when you speak from a place of knowing what you desire, everything changes. Your presence feels stronger. Your words carry weight. A woman can sense when a man is trying to impress her versus when a man is simply being himself. The first one is forgettable. The second one stands out. So remember this. A man who communicates his wants clearly doesn't scare a woman. He stabilizes her. He grounds her. He makes her feel like she's dealing with someone who won't break under pressure. And that kind of man, women respect immediately. 3. Why women crave this kind of confidence from a man. There is a certain type of confidence women feel instantly when they're around a man. It's not loud, it's not performative, it's not the kind of confidence that tries to dominate a room or force attention. The confidence women respond to most is quiet, steady, and natural. It's the kind that makes a woman feel like she can relax around you because she senses you're grounded in who you are. Most men misunderstand confidence. They think it's about being bold, flirty, funny, or showing no fear. But from a woman's perspective, confidence is something much simpler. It's the ability to speak directly without acting like you're waiting for approval. It's the way you hold yourself when you're talking to her. It's your ability to stay calm instead of trying to create an impression. What women actually crave is a man who isn't trying too hard. A man who doesn't need to prove anything. A man who can say what he thinks without apologizing for it. When you speak with this type of presence, your words carry more weight. A woman listens differently. She feels something around you that she doesn't feel with most men. The reason this type of confidence is so attractive is because it signals emotional strength. Women naturally look for signs that a man can handle pressure, discomfort, honesty, and responsibility. Not because she wants to test you, but because it helps her feel safe around you. A woman can't trust a man who is too afraid to express himself directly. She can't relax around a man who hesitates at every turn. When you talk to a woman with natural confidence, you show that you can hold your own space. You're not controlled by the situation. You're not shaped by her reaction. You're speaking from a place inside yourself that isn't easily shaken. Women feel that instantly. It's the same energy that makes a man appear mysterious without trying. Not because he's hiding something, but because he's not scrambling to be liked. Another reason women crave this form of confidence is because it creates polarity. Feminine energy responds to masculine clarity. When you communicate calmly and openly, you create a dynamic where she feels free to be feminine, expressive, curious, or playful. She doesn't feel like she has to lead, control the conversation, or guess what's going on in your mind. Most men don't realize how quickly their energy shifts when they're nervous or overeager. They start talking too fast. They start explaining themselves too much. They start filling every silence because they're scared it will turn her off. But silence doesn't turn a woman off. Weakness does, and a lack of self-trust does. Women crave confidence because it creates emotional stability. It shows that you can handle tension, attraction, and intimacy without losing yourself. When you master this, your presence becomes more powerful than anything you could ever say. 4. What you say here separates you from every other guy. There is a point in every interaction with a woman where she pays close attention to how you speak about yourself. Not your achievements, not your job, not your status. She's listening for something deeper. She wants to know whether you move through life with direction or whether you drift through it without purpose. And the way you communicate this separates you from almost every other man she meets. Most men make the mistake of trying to impress a woman by describing what they do instead of who they are. They list accomplishments. They talk about their work. They try to sound impressive or important. But women don't connect with that. What they connect with is a man who speaks with intention, a man whose words reveal that he takes responsibility for himself and his life. When you talk about what you value and what matters to you, you instantly stand out. Women can tell when a man has thought about his choices, his goals, his standards, and the way he carries himself. It shows emotional maturity. It shows discipline. It shows that you're not just reacting to life, but actually living it with awareness and purpose. You don't need to make a long speech. You don't need to overshare. You don't need to convince her of anything. What matters is that the way you speak reflects strength, a calm tone, steady words, and clear thinking. When a woman hears that, she pays attention because it's rare. Here's the truth many men don't realize. Women judge men on subtle signals. If you sound unsure about your life, she will assume you are unsure about yourself. If you talk in a way that makes you seem easily influenced, she will sense instability. If you sound like you simply go with whatever life hands you, she will feel no polarity. Feminine energy needs masculine direction, not control, but clarity. When you communicate with intention, you send the message that you have structure. That you know what you tolerate and what you don't. That you know where your time goes. That you set boundaries instead of letting the world walk over you. You don't need to say any of this directly. Your tone and presence say it for you. This is the moment where a woman quietly evaluates who you are. She's trying to decide if you're another man who is trying to impress her or a man who lives with purpose. And believe me, this distinction is everything. A man with direction doesn't try to win a woman over. He lets his presence show her that he takes his life seriously. He lets his words reflect self-respect, and he communicates from a place of calm authority rather than insecurity. 5. How one simple sentence makes her chase your attention. There is a moment with every woman where the balance of interest shifts. Most men never notice it because they are too focused on trying to make the woman like them. But the truth is that attraction grows fastest when a woman feels like she has something to gain and something to lose. And there is a simple sentence that triggers this feeling in her. It's when a man calmly says that he values his peace. Women are not used to hearing this from men. They are used to men doing anything to stay in their good graces. They are used to men bending their boundaries, rearranging their schedules, and changing their behavior just to stay on the woman's radar. But when a man makes it clear that his peace matters, everything changes. There was a moment once when I was talking to a guy and the conversation shifted. I teased him about something and he smiled, but he didn't overreact. He didn't try to impress me or defend himself. He simply said that he doesn't argue, doesn't chase drama, and doesn't stay where his peace is disturbed. He said it calmly, like he was just mentioning a fact about himself. Something in me shifted right away. I felt more aware of how I spoke to him. I felt more intentional, and I felt more drawn to him because he wasn't chasing. He was choosing what aligned with him. When a man communicates that his peace is a priority, a woman immediately evaluates her behavior. Not because she is afraid of him, but because she respects him. She feels like she is dealing with a man who knows his worth. And when a woman senses that, she becomes more careful, more feminine, and more intentional with her energy. This sentence makes her chase your attention because it reveals something rare. Most men are controlled by how much they like the woman, but a man who values his peace is controlled by his standards. That difference shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, she is not the one being pursued. She is the one trying to match his energy. It also activates something deeper in her. Women feel safest and most attracted when they can sense that a man won't be manipulated or emotionally pushed around. When you make it clear you protect your peace, it signals emotional strength. It signals discipline. It signals that your life has structure. That makes her lean in. Stoics. The words that quietly spark desire in a woman's mind. Desire in a woman's mind rarely comes from big gestures or loud confidence. It usually grows from something subtle that a man says, often without even realizing the effect it has on her. Women are highly sensitive to emotional signals, and certain words from a man can create an instant shift in how she sees him. One of the strongest signals is when a man speaks like someone who has emotional control. Not emotional coldness, but emotional discipline. Women pay close attention to the way you express yourself because it tells her how safe she would feel with you. When you speak in a calm and steady way, without sounding reactive or insecure, it sparks something in her. She starts seeing you as a man who can handle intensity. She starts trusting your presence more. And trust is one of the biggest triggers of desire for a woman. Another thing that sparks desire is when a man expresses his standards without sounding defensive. You don't need to justify yourself. You don't need to explain every choice. When you talk about what you expect in your life, the things you allow and the things you don't tolerate, it creates a subtle pull. It makes her want to rise to the level you're operating on. Women naturally lean toward men who carry themselves with intention. So when you speak in a way that shows you're selective about where you invest your time and attention, it changes how she views you. She begins to see you as a man who doesn't give his energy easily. And that creates desire Because women are attracted to men who value themselves. Another thing that affects a woman deeply is when you speak with emotional honesty. Not oversharing and not playing mysterious. Just being straightforward about what you feel and what you think. Women find emotional steadiness very attractive. It makes them feel like they can open up without being judged or overwhelmed. When you communicate with clarity, it removes the pressure from her side. Women dislike guessing games. They don't enjoy trying to figure out what a man wants or where he stands. So when you talk in a clear, grounded way, it makes the connection feel easier. Ease is attractive. Comfort is attractive. A man who doesn't complicate everything is attractive. 7. If you can't say this, you'll keep losing women you want. There is one thing many men avoid saying, and it's the very thing that keeps them stuck with the wrong women and ignored by the right ones. It's the ability to say what they will not accept. Most men can talk about what they want from a woman, but they get quiet when it's time to express their boundaries. And the truth is simple. If you can't communicate what you refuse to tolerate, you will keep losing women who would have respected you and attracting women who walk all over you. Women pay attention to the way a man handles disrespect, inconsistency, and poor treatment. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be emotional. But you do need to be clear. A woman cannot trust a man who lets everything slide. She cannot admire a man who avoids uncomfortable conversations. She cannot feel attracted to a man who has no backbone. When you cannot express your limits, you become predictable in a negative way. Women sense it. They know they can push a little, test a little, pull back a little, and you will still stay. They know you won't say anything because you're afraid of losing them. That fear is what actually makes them lose interest. A man who is scared to speak up sends the message that he values the woman more than he values his own self-respect. And here's the part a lot of men don't want to hear. Women do not lose attraction because you set boundaries. They lose attraction when you don't. No woman wants to feel like she is leading the dynamic. No woman wants to feel like she can behave however she likes with no consequence. A woman is most attracted to a man whose standards require her to show up correctly. You have to be able to say it directly. That you don't engage in disrespect. That you don't reward inconsistent behavior. That you don't invest in people who take you for granted. That you don't chase attention. You don't need speeches. You don't need emotional outbursts. Simple clarity is enough. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. Women are not impressed by effort. They are impressed by presence, clarity, and a man who knows his worth. You can chase, you can flatter, you can try to be perfect, but if you can't communicate your truth, your boundaries, and your standards, you will continue to attract the wrong kind of attention and lose the women you actually want. Saying the right things isn't about memorizing lines or playing games. It's about showing women who you are through your words. It's about speaking with confidence, clarity, and emotional strength. When you do this, you naturally separate yourself from the crowd. You become memorable. You become magnetic. And women respond to that energy more than anything else. The 7 things we've talked about today aren't tricks. They're ways to express your masculine energy in a way women actually notice and respect. They are ways to create attraction without trying too hard. But here's the catch. You have to believe them yourself. You have to embody them. Words alone won't work if your presence doesn't match them. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed the difference in how a woman reacts when you speak with clarity and confidence? Or maybe you've said something that completely shifted her energy. Drop your experiences in the comments and let's discuss them. I'll be engaging with you because the goal here isn't just to teach. It's to help you understand what really works from a woman's perspective and see real results in your interactions. Remember, the right words, delivered with self-respect and calm confidence, will always do more than effort, chasing, or over-explaining. Start practicing today and notice how the dynamic changes immediately.